I'm Lloyd Holiday, and this is the Cost of a Thing podcast. Thanks for listening in today. The cost of a thing is the amount of time that you must spend working to buy the things that you want and need. And that directly determines your standard of living. Okay, it seems like we have a little gas price ripoff going on, especially on the West Coast. California gas is right around $4 and maybe over $4 in a lot of the areas. And it's not really affecting the Midwest and the eastern countries. I looked and they're paying about $2.50 a gallon right now. So how can the gas in California be $4 a gallon? And on the other parts of the country, many parts, it's only $2.50. Wow, that's a big increase. $1.50 more. Not that long ago, 15 or 20 years ago, gas only cost $1.50 more. I mean, $1.50 a gallon. $1.50 a gallon, not $1.50 more. The whole gallon of gas was $1.50. Now it's $1.50 more than the other places. Wow, now that's a major ripoff, and we know something funny is going on. I see on the internet it's due to refinery problems in California. Well, who caused the refinery problems? The refiners. They're not taking care of their refineries properly. So guess what? They've got a bad refinery. They didn't do a good job taking care of their refineries. And so they've got a perceived shortage of gas out in California because they use a special mix out there during the summertime, or the approach to summer in the summer. So they've kind of got the people in California and the West Coast, many areas, over a barrel, and they're gonna use that power to extract some extra money for themselves, that extra $1 a gallon or $1.50 a gallon, whatever they're gonna get. And so there it is. Okay, they can't keep their refineries working. Sometimes they blow up. These guys, they'll come up with anything. Just plain old maintenance. They chalk it up to maintenance. They didn't know they were going to need maintenance. They don't have any backups going on there like they should have with all the money they get. And guess what? They screwed up. Their refineries don't work right. And guess what? They get rewarded by getting higher prices for the gas that they do put out. So that's the irony of the whole thing, and that's the biggest part of the ripoff right there. They screw up. They don't manage their business well. So now there's a perceived shortage, and the price goes up, and the refiners, get more money for their product. That's the biggest, one of the big. It's a small ripoff. It's not as big as housing and medical and the others. Gas prices are a relatively small ripoff, but it's one of the classic ripoffs because it keeps happening and it happens over and over again. And well, the gas price ripoff is not as large as the super ripoffs, my top 10 super ripoffs, of which 5 of them are out there right now that I've already done podcasts on. The gas ripoff is still a ripoff. It's one of the hundreds of smaller, minor ripoffs that are going on throughout the economy that downgrade and take away our standard of living. And when you add them all up, they are a very important part of the reduction in the American standard of living. And so the gas price ripoff, when combined with all the other ripoffs, and I'm going to talk about as many of those as I can and think of over the next few months, and that's what this website is all about, what is affecting and lowering the American standard of living. And certainly high gas prices is one of them. High gas prices has been a problem since I was a kid. Back in the 70s, there was a couple of big spikes in gas prices in like 1973, 1979, and this was due to some kind of Arab embargoes at the time. You can look that up. And we actually had lines to get gas in California in 1979. I remember you had to wait in line, long lines to get gas. And there was no gas a lot of places. And of course, the prices went way, way up, probably doubled at the time. Of course, at that time, gas was only about 25 or 30 cents a gallon in the early 70s, so it probably doubled to about 50 or 60 cents at that time. But still, that was a big hit back then for people. And then over time, it went away and gas prices were more reasonable again. And this is what seems to happen. There's an event or something that pushes the prices up, and then that event passes and the prices come back down, and that's what happened. We've seen that every so often, and right now is one of the peaks. It's gone up again. I believe we'll talk about the reasons. What are the reasons? I mean, I can talk about the reasons all day. I mean, usually they say there's something going on, something. Oh, there's more demand than there is gas out there. I mean, they talk like they were going to run out of gas back in the early 70s, the way they were talking back then. It's the same thing they say now. And it seems to me that there's always something. They always got an excuse. There's a hurricane, there's a Arab war, there's something's going on. There's sanctions on some country that produces oil. There's always some reason. They have the refinery. Some of the refineries are down for maintenance, or one of them blew up or something, and right away the prices will go up because of that. There's a hurricane, and so the oil platforms out in the Gulf will get threatened, and they raise the price because they think that might shut down some of them. It's incredible what the excuses that they come up with, and in the end, it's always the same baloney. And of course, it's the same old story. Who gets the money? The extra $1 a gallon or whatever that we're paying, times the billions of gallons that we use. It's the oil producing countries get some of it, and the oil companies get some of it, the refiners, and I'm sure the gas stations get a little bit of a cut of that increased. And also the state and federal taxes probably are a little higher because some of those are based on price. So all these people are, making out on these high gas prices. As usual, whenever there's a ripoff, I always say, one of my credos is somebody's getting a lot of money for doing very little or nothing. And this is certainly the case with these gas ripoff prices. And you think the prices would stay low no matter what happened in foreign countries and so forth. Now, I mean, we got Anwar open for oil exploration in the north. You got a lot of shale oil going on, fracking and all that. That was supposed to be bringing a lot of oil onto the markets. And hey, guess what? Doesn't matter. They still drove the prices up. Because guess what? And I believe here's what the real story is. It's May. They know you're going to want to travel in the summer, take a trip, and they're going to get that extra $1 a gallon out of you. And that's what they do. Oh, and another thing, these big corporations like the oil companies and the refiners and all those, they just got a big tax cut from Donald Trump. Their income tax rate went from 35% down to 20%. So they've got a huge, big windfall in that area that's going to go right into their profits. And you think they could pass a little of that on to the consumer? No way. They're going to take all that and they're going to give it to us by raising prices too. And, basically what I see also is again, the one thing that keeps prices in line in a capitalist economy that we're supposed to have, which is mainly supposed to be capitalist, is competition. And we all know that there is little or no competition in the oil market. I mean, it's a scam. All the stations are within a couple of cents of each other. The only ones that might be a few cents cheaper are the ones that are selling, gas that's not a brand name, or they don't take credit cards, so they pass along part of that savings from the credit card fee to the consumer and lower their price a few cents. But that's it. It's all the same. There's no competition in the oil industry. So that's another reason the prices are so high. So the oil and gas price ripoff it's going on, and it's one of the classics. It recurs, and you think just when it's dead, with electric cars and all that there's going to be a lower demand for oil and the prices will stay down. It rears its head again. It's like the old movie, on the old horror movie, where the guy just kept coming back to life. And that's about it for the oil and gas price ripoff. Thank you for listening in today. And until next time, this is Lloyd Holiday signing off.